Hello again, I'm Laura Nicolas, and today I will continue. I am only missing a small section of this wall to finish the alley, to finish this section of the construction because it's gonna grow, but I wanna have this part finished. And in order to do that, I have to finish this part of the wall to make it on the same level as this. And that's what I'm gonna do now. So the first thing I need is some scrap pieces of foam, and with the foam cutter, I'm gonna cut it to length and glue it there. And I need to put my mask on because when you cut foam, you don't wanna be breathing the gases. This piece of foam is not square, so the first thing I'm doing before cutting it to length is make all the corners straight by just cutting a thin slice, and then I will be able to work with it way better. Then another problem that I have is this is too wide and I have to cut it in 3 parts, I guess. But I cannot do it like this because it's too tall. So I need to cut it to the highest point that I can work with. At the shop, there where we do the exhibition, I have a bigger machine, a bigger foam cutter, and there it's not an issue. The height is not an issue. But here at home, I only have this small one, so I have to work around it. Now, working with a foam cutter is relatively easy. You just have to move at steady pace and keep the same pressure so that the thing doesn't move and it doesn't do strange cuts, let's say. But at the beginning, I was making mistakes, let's say. But once you gain experience, it's super easy to work with. And then it's just a matter of gluing all the pieces and continue to grow the Frankenstein that I'm doing. They are the same size, so it's kind of easy to make them flat. And then I have the other part up there because I needed it to be taller. So gluing it and then cutting the excess there. Here I am gluing it to the rest of the wall, trying to make it as straight as possible, but I'm not using any tool. It's just by eye. And then I still have some scrap pieces that I'm gluing here to the side, and I'm gonna explain why in a second. So this section of the wall is glued, and then I can put all the stones and finish it all. I've created this wall here because my idea is that when the visitor is here looking at this alley, I don't want them to see what's there. That's gonna be like another scene, let's say. And I want them to discover things as they move. And because I want them to discover things as they move, I need to put elements like this wall that keeps one scene out of sight from the other. And why is it that I'm doing that? Well, because I build super big dioramas. I put a lot of effort and there are a lot of sub-scenes inside the diorama, and I want the people to discover them as they go. I don't want it to be like you remember the Where's Wally kind of pictures, where at first glance you see it all and you see that Wally's in the beach. You don't know all the details because there are a lot of details, but and there is people that likes to see all of those details, but there is no more surprising the visitor, let's say, because at first glance they've seen it all. Now, in my case, I prefer to be discovering new parts of the diorama as the people walk. And that's why I want to keep one scene from the other, and I have to put features like this that cover sight. And now it's time to glue more stones that of course I had to cut again. The other day I went to a family dinner. So my in-laws have a place, like you could call it maybe a cottage kind of thing. And we get together from time to time and we just have lunch and then spend the afternoon talking about stuff. And I brought there the foam and I was cutting as we were spending the afternoon there. So that made it easier because, well, I could spend like 2 3 hours cutting. No, not that much, but bueno, anyway. Oh, by the way, Sorry for the last video that I uploaded where at the end I had like 20 minutes of a black screen. I didn't notice when I was editing, and now YouTube doesn't allow me to edit it, so I'm gonna leave it there and I'm gonna pay more attention um, in my next edits, let's say. I almost forgot. I have to draw lines here to ensure that I don't deviate too much. I got to this section of the wall and now things get a little bit trickier. What I want to do with this wall is I want to have it like destroyed, and that's why I'm going with this shape, which means that I will have to carve some of those stones. And I thought that for carving, it would be easier if I had full stones instead of just the faces. So that's why I have done this, so that I can insert the full stones and then I can carve. And now that I'm explaining it, I just realized that actually I could have just continued with the faces and carve the white foam. And if it looks different, then it will look different than the other parts. I could have just put filler and then carve the filler, and it would have been way easier. But I have already done it, so now I have to finish it. And that's what I'm gonna do. So I had an accident, not a big one, but still I wanted to share. I was turning this because I wanted to have access to this wall, like frontal access. And as I was turning it, this part of the wall hit this part of the tool and it broke. It's not a big deal. I just wanted to say, because those things happen, especially with big constructions, like in my case, and this is only a part, it's gonna grow bigger. But those things happens that even if you are careful, at some point things break. Now it's not a big deal because now I will just glue it back and that's it. When you have it painted, it's more a bummer. It's more difficult, but you can always recover, let's say, from something like this, and it's just not a big deal. It's things that happen. Can you believe it? This is the last stone of this section of the building, because I counted it the other day, and actually for what I want to make, this is only 1/8 of the full building, because I have this one, then it's gonna grow that way, this way, and then of course that way. So this is 1/4 of the space that I need to build. But then I want a second floor, which means that I have to repeat that again. I am excited for the final result because I have it in my head. The other day, I didn't know how I would continue to grow it, but I asked my sister if she could come so that I could share with her what I was doing and where are we going to place it and how are we going to display it and what will be the scenery that we're going to build around. So we discussed it together, and now I have a clear picture of what I want. This is by far the most ambitious building that I'm doing. The other day I posted the full diorama for this year, and there are some cool buildings, but they are not that complex. So I think it's gonna look cool. And I have big plans for this corner here, because if I have this corner, I have to put something, and it has to be something that it's interesting, because it's the first thing that the viewer is gonna see when they turn on the display area. This is gonna be a turn. So it has to be something that is interesting, and because we rely a lot on figurines to fill the space, I need an excuse to be putting figurines here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build a fountain with actual running water. And I'm super excited to do that. I don't know where I'm gonna continue with the next building because I have this project that excites me. I have to do the ceiling, which also excites me. I have to do that. So I have a few parts that I wanna do. So I don't know, we will discover what's gonna be the next project. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, please subscribe and let's continue building.